Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Medcast KSMA. Today, we have a very interesting guest with us. He is a physiologist from Germany. We have got with us Heimo. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. I'm very fine.
And-
I had a great day today because I went to the mountains.
How was
And
it?
yeah, that was great.
Moving towards the podcast, sir. First of all, can you please take us through the journey, how you became from a medical student to a physiologist and all about your achievements, and then we'll go through the podcast.
Okay, actually, I wanted to become a molecular biologist, and then I started studying medicine. And as many medical students, I had many different aims during my studies. I wanted to become a psychiatrist, pathologist, gynecologist or obstetrics, and finally a pediatrician. So you might say physiology took me rather than I choose physiology. Yeah.
So it's that physiology has chosen you rather than
Yeah.
you have chosen the physiology.
Yeah, right.
So what's the moment in the med school that still lives in your heart or in your life while being at the medical school?
Many moments, actually, many moments. Just right now, you're asking, I recall a situation where I worked in pediatrics, and I went to a young girl, around 11 or 12 years old, and she had a very severe heart failure, and I had to do the physical, I had to examine her before the operation, and it was not clear whether she would survive the operation. Finally, she did, but it was so interesting to talk to her because she was, in a way, very adult, very wise because of her long-standing illness. And after that, I knew I would like to become a pediatrician.
Talking about such moments, sir, how do you think that these moments are important in a life of a doctor specifically? How much important they are and how they are motivating the life and the journey of a doctor?
Yes, I think that medicine is really great because it combines completely different fields, bring them together, like basic science, but also a lot of knowledge. For example, anatomy, it's not really science, it's more observation and knowledge where everything is, but also the knowledge of different diseases. But then listening to patients, empathy, a lot of ethical questions which you have to answer. So it's a real wide field. And if it comes to decisions, you have to bring all the different strings together to find something together with the person you are caring for.
Yep. As I was already having a podcast and they said that medicine is like an art. As being a doctor and as being a physician, how do you think, just like, let's just take a kidney as an example. And the kidney is having the acid-base balance.
Yeah.
So it means that a chemist is sitting inside us. So can you please explain these scenarios?
Oh, that's so complicated. I must give a lecture of 45 minutes and everyone would be bored. So basically, yes, there are different mechanisms. But one mechanism relates to a single protein which senses the concentration of bicarbonate and chloride. Both ions are very important for acid-base balance. And the affinity constant of this protein for chloride or bicarbonate is very important because then a certain cell type can respond to changes, so the kidney can correct chronically acid-base balance.
All right. So when you were studying your mechanotransduction, what was that one thing which surprised you a lot? What was that wow moment?
You're referring to the regulation of blood pressure?
Yeah.
Actually, I was not surprised at all that it is a channel. This was, I think, very likely that blood pressure is sensed by a mechanosensitive channel, and also the identity of the channel, so that it leads open to whether it's opening or that its opening leads to an increase in sodium inflow and maybe calcium inflow was not very surprising, because then the membrane potential depolarizes and action potentials are generated. That was not very surprising, but it was very surprising to me that this family of channels is so important for all mechanosensation throughout the body. That was really surprising to me. So it's important for regulating lung inflation, it's important for regulation sensation by the skin, it's important to bowel movement, it's even important to sexual function. So it's so important, and I think even the person who discovered most of these functions, Adam Pataputian, who also received the Nobel Prize, he probably was surprised by himself that it was so broadly, closely related to all these mechano sensations.
Yeah, and so, sir, while researching about the mechanics of the hypertension, how much that mouse was important, which was used?
Which mouse do you mean? There
Mouse models.
We used many different mouse models.
Yeah.
And I think we discovered a lot of different mechanisms, but in the end, I'm not sure whether blood pressure is regulated in our sense at all. So during my first lecture as a, let's say, as not as a professor, but on my way to being a professor, my first official lecture had the title, "Is blood pressure really a regulated? Is it really regulated, or is it an artificial product of cardiac output and peripheral resistance?" So, is it really regulated, like, for example, body temperature is?
Yeah.
Or is it simply the resultant of other processes, of blood perfusion of the organs, of cardiac function, of peripheral resistance, which is regulated by many different processes? So
what was the exact answer? Is it regulated?
I still don't know the answer. I still don't know. I think most people would be, irritated hearing that blood pressure may not be really regulated, but simply has a value, and if the value increases, then it's a risk factor for many different diseases, like stroke, for example, or heart disease, and so on. But it does not necessarily need a tightly regulated value.
So if it is just the output, cardiac output, and it is not just regulated, how much? What's the importance of the colloid ions, and why should we care about those things?
Yeah, it's important because, of course, the level of blood pressure is very important, because if it's too high, then it's an important risk. It's the most important risk factor.
Yeah.
For chronic disease. So knowing which mechanisms affect blood pressure is very helpful to develop new strategies for therapy of high blood pressure. Okay,
Yep.
That's why it's important, and maybe it's really a regulated value. At least in the short term, it is. Okay, the baroreceptor reflex keeps variations in blood pressure relatively close.
So for now, we are not up to a specific answer that whether it is been regulated or it is just
not in the long run. Not in the long run.
So just talking about this, any myth which you have heard most in the people about the cardiovascular system, which you would like to burst on?
Oh yeah, I know one. And that's what I hear from my students very often and read in the textbooks as well. It's that venous return determines cardiac output. Perhaps you heard that. Venous
Yeah.
return increase, yeah, but that's nonsense. It's not the venous return, because venous return always have to equal cardiac output, because what goes out must come back. It must be equal. Otherwise, you would get in big trouble. It's not venous return, that's the myth, but it's filling pressure.
So, yeah.
It's filling pressure, and that's a big difference. One thing is flow, and the other thing is pressure.
Yeah.
It's completely different, but people always mix it up. And you might think it's only a linguistic difference, but it's a big difference.
Yup, and actually it's a big difference. I came to know this now as well. Sir, actually, any advice you would like to give to the students, those who are currently in the research field, and where should they start, to be honest? Because while reading at your CV, I found out that you have done a lot of research projects, you have a lot of experiences, etc. And specific advice for the students, because our audience, they are majorly the students of Kyrgyz State Medical Academy. So what advice would you give them? Where should they start, and how should they follow this journey in the research?
In research?
Yeah.
I think, first of all, you have to find a question in which you are really interested. It makes no sense to investigate something scientifically
Where you don't have any
only
interest.
if you have no interest.
Yeah.
Because science can be so disappointing.
And what if you start something and you start building the interest in it?
I didn't get it.
What if you start something without the interest,
Yeah.
but during the journey you start building your interest in that specific thing?
Yes, of course, that might happen. If you are really interested in learning the scientific method, you can start with anything and then find out what you're interested in.
Yeah.
But it's very important that you are interested in something. Otherwise, it's really terrible for everybody, for the person, it's him or herself, as well as for all others. It's not a good idea to do science without really being interested in finding the correct answer, or something that comes close to something like a correct answer. And the next thing is that you have to be very honest, because it makes no sense to cheat, because if it's wrong, somebody else will find out that it's wrong. It makes absolutely no sense. Cheating and science really don't go together. It's really stupid to do that. You might get a position as a professor by cheating all the time, but that's someday someone will find out. Hopefully.
Yeah, and obviously, while you are having you are doing a research, there are failures which go your way. So, I mean, just in case if you have started something and you are failing again and again, how much the failures are important? Are they actually teaching you something, or you are just at the point where you are thinking that I am just nowhere?
Both is possible. Sometimes failing is very the normal situation in science. You have an idea and it doesn't work, and you try to change it and it really doesn't work, and in the end you have a construct which seems to work very well, and then you report it at a conference and other people discuss, and suddenly someone stands up and asks you a question and you realize, okay, I still don't have the answer. You go back to your experimental setup, you change something. It's a process. So failure is completely inherent in the scientific. It's part of the scientific process. So to say failure teaches you to be humble or so, that's true. But you have to accept that experiments don't work, and you have to do your best, improve the technology, be honest, see the data, interpret the data, present to other people, get different perspectives on the data, ask new questions, develop new technology.
Any failure in your life which actually taught you a lot during the research specifically? Is there any, obviously?
There are so many. No, not a single one. I cannot single out one. Maybe to realize too late that I was on the wrong journey. So if you have invested a lot of time in going a scientific way to find out a solution for a question,
Yeah.
and you begin to understand that this probably doesn't work out, but you have the feeling, oh, I invested so much time and so much money.
Yeah.
Then it's so hard to stop, to say, okay, it's over and let's do something else. And it's so important to stop projects that won't work. This is a very, very tough decision. And I think I took this decision in several projects too late and wasted time.
So do you
It makes no time to invest more on something which in the end won't work. It makes no sense.
Yeah, so I mean, it means that there is always a point when you are thinking that it's so late. Because I have heard to so many people, those who are saying that it's never late. But at the same time, so there are moments where you are saying that it's so late. Nah, I should quit now. Okay, sir. About the cardiovascular physiology, engineered cardiac tissues. I was reading about them, and how much do you think that they are currently, at what period of time we will have them in the real life applications?
Probably you saw the paper published in Nature this January
Yeah.
by Wolfram Zimmermann. I
Yeah.
know his project very well. I don't know. I hope that they will succeed. Wolfram is very much convinced that it will work. Other groups go a slightly different way, but they also try to do that. I'm still skeptical whether this will
What
go
if-
into mass production.
Yeah,
It
if
might function for several patients, but you have to build up artificial heart tissue, and it's very, very difficult to build up heart tissue artificially.
And what if it works? How will it take the medicine in this industry?
I didn't get the question.
And if it works, just
Yeah.
in case.
Just in case,
Yeah.
that would be great, because we don't have enough hearts for transplantation. That would be really something very helpful to many patients.
So is it going to be a life-changing?
This is too much, but it's something which would definitely help many persons with terminal heart failure. But I think the much better way is to prevent heart failure. So good prevention. Don't even go to this point where you need the artificial heart tissue.
Yeah.
It's much better to prevent cardiovascular disease than to treat cardiovascular disease.
And what role will the gene targeting will play in the cardiovascular pathology? The gene targeting specifically. What do you think?
I can imagine that someday it will really revolutionize cardiovascular therapy, because with gene targeting you can directly target the heart without adverse effects. Yeah, but it will critically develop on the right vectors. Currently we use adenoviruses, but I'm not sure whether they are the perfect vectors. There are other possible techniques. I think at the moment it's primarily a problem of targeting, not the genetics, what all the people think, but the targeting, bringing your medicine to the right place, that's the major problem. And this hasn't been solved right now.
And how much time do you think will it take?
I don't make any predictions. I don't know.
And what if this is going to be the same moment, whether they have done a lot of things, they have spent a lot of time, and at the last moment they would say, this is the end, I cannot make it, or they cannot make it?
Yeah, that's a very good question. We very often learned that people who were most successful were those who decided to go on, even when everybody said it's over now.
Yeah.
But that's a very unlikely event. In most cases, it's more wisely to stop the project quite early and not too late. This is really the most difficult decision in science.
Yeah, as we are discussing the cardiovascular health, I am just being at the moment, and I'm just thinking about the blood pressure, as we are not yet sure it has been regulated. Do you think that in future we can say that we can train the blood pressure, or it can be trained by immune cells? It can be regulated, something like that?
No, not really.
So
I think that the immune system, we are currently learning a lot about the immune system.
Yeah.
It's really a decade or maybe 2 decades of uncovering new mechanisms of disease mediated by the immune system. This is really, currently it's a huge thing, doing immunological research and looking at different diseases in the organs. So I think that cardiovascular disease is massively influenced by immunological mechanisms.
Yeah.
Especially organ damage is mediated or modulated or ameliorated by immune systems, immune mechanisms. But I don't think that blood pressure itself is regulated by immunological processes.
So, no, the thing is, will medicine be capable enough so that in future we can have the trained, regulated blood pressure?
No,
by immune system?
Not by the immune system.
Okay, so just discussing about this, how do you foresee the medicine after 50 years or maybe 30 years about the cardiovascular health specifically? Will we have enough?
If I knew the answer, I would be very rich. Very rich.
Just a prediction maybe.
No, I wouldn't say prediction. I would say educated guess, and even that is a little bit too much. No, I expect that there will be much more prevention. Prevention is so important. And I really hope that less people will advance to severe cardiovascular disease, to end-stage heart failure, end-stage renal failure, and so on. So that medicine shifts away from treating people who are very sick to preventing people from getting very sick. And I think that we have to go that way, because people in many countries, not in all countries, definitely not. I saw so many young people here in the country, but in many economically strong countries, the population is getting older and older, and we cannot afford the therapy, the new therapy is too old for all the people. And then you get a distribution problem. Who can get the medicine and who pays for it? And I think that this will lead insurance companies and also doctors to prevent cardiovascular disease, to put more emphasis on prevention, without stopping doing research on very good
Yeah.
therapies. But the idea would be to reduce the number of people becoming end-stage cardiovascular disease, and then to have much more personalized therapies for those who developed end-stage cardiovascular
Yeah,
disease.
but don't you think that there are these two separate ways? The more we are advancing in getting, knowing, or treating the severe cardiovascular pathologies, the more we are, and at the same time, we are neglecting the prevention because we are finding new ways to treat the severe cardiovascular pathologies. So I think these are two separate ways. Prevention, you do not have to get sick. And at the same time, we are doing things that if you are sick, we need to do this.
You cannot prevent all the disease. There are enough people who really advance to end-stage organ failure. So you will never prevent any disease.
Yeah. So we, at the same time, as a regular human being, other than who are not related to medicine, they have to work on the prevention. But those who are in the medicine, in the field, they have to research and find the answers to these solutions. All right, sir. How I'm after so many years, just talking about specifically back in my country or countries like India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, people are not much interested in our 40s or 50s. They are not much interested in the research. They are not much interested in getting more knowledge. What was that specific thing or what that specific curiosity which is still asking you to keep going and keep doing more and more research, keep finding more and more answers? What is that specific thing? How do you find that specific threshold?
You mean in myself or in other people?
No, obviously in yourself as well. Because as I know, back in Pakistan and India, if you are into your 40s or into your 50s, you are leaving everything to your children. That's it. You're not doing anything.
I don't know. Many friends of mine lose their interest as well. So it's something which is either there or not. So I'm not getting up in the morning, looking into the mirror, and before doing anything say, you must be interested in doing science. I am interested. I'm still very curious.
What's that specific thing which you think that you have, but those others do not have, those who are losing that interest?
It's something like having red or black hair. It's I don't know. It's. I think it's also not. Yeah, it might. My family. I'm not coming from a family. I don't have a role model, so it's. I don't have. There's not an uncle or an aunt or my mother or my older sister, which showed me to think that way. It comes from the inner side.
So you are your own role model.
No, not a role model. It's like it is. I'm so happy when I can do science or being an instructor or doing scientific leadership. And what I found is that the more I'm experienced in the field, and the more I have the feeling that I understand the mechanisms better,
Yeah.
the more I like to do it. So
All right,
I'm not exhausted at the moment. It might change. But at the moment I'm happy to share my experience with younger people.
Oh, we hope it will not change because you're doing a lot good for the humanity. What advice would you give to your younger self who is just stepping
Oh yeah, I can
into
answer
adulthood?
that. I can answer. Be brave. Be brave. Yeah. I was not brave enough to tackle those scientific questions where I was really interested in,
All right.
and I chose to tackle questions which were easier to answer.
A researcher or a practitioner, what would you say? Where do you enjoy yourself the most?
Yeah, I've only been short, on a very brief time span. I've been a practicing physician. I think both can be exciting, and it depends what you are more interested in. Science can be very, very boring, and doing medical care can also be very boring if you are confronted with the same topics again and again, and your patients don't listen to you, and not the same patient, but this next patient comes up with the same problem. That's what I hear from the people who are practitioners. But science can also be terrible, and on the other side, both can be extremely interesting and fulfilling. So it really depends. I think it's more a question of how you.
Yeah, it's personal
It's
preference.
of your attitude.
Yeah.
What you are doing out of it. It's not. It's not the outside. It's the inner side which decides whether you're bored or not.
Yeah. So
And that's great, because then you can change it. If it was the outer, you cannot change the surrounding. But you can change yourself.
Sir, any book, any of your favorite book? It has not to be the scientific, any non-scientific book which has inspired you, or maybe it's your favorite.
Again, many different books. But
just one of them.
But I like The Assault very much by Harry Mulisch. The Assault. You probably don't know that.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a book on an assault in Nazi time.
Aha.
And it's ethically extremely complex. So it's so interesting to see a novel where ethics is brought to life. It's a philosophical work, but at the same time it's a novel.
Yeah.
And the novel brings it much closer to life than any philosophical textbook could do.
Yeah.
And I like that very, very much.
Yeah. And what's that one specific thing which will be surprising for your students to hear?
I'm so open about everything. I'm afraid I cannot surprise them, which means that I'm a little bit boring for them. I don't know. I really don't know. Perhaps they would be surprised that I'm sitting here in a podcast, because I told them I don't. This is my first podcast. Because I don't like that. And if they learned that I did it, and I really did it for you,
thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Then they would be surprised. Yes, that would surprise them.
Okay, sir. Moving towards the end of the podcast, just finish this sentence. A great scientist is.
It's an artist.
A great.
It's an art. It's an art. And there are many great scientists, like, of course, Albert Einstein is a great scientist, no doubt. But I like Thomas Surbuchen very, very much. You probably don't know him. Thomas Surbuchen was born in Switzerland in a little village in the mountains, like here, and in Heiligenschwendi, that's the name of the town. And his father was a preacher, and no one would have expected that he would in the end become the science head of the NASA.
Oh.
And he was so determined to do science, and he went his way, and he did very, very good science at the University of Michigan, where he coordinated a big scientific project that the results were published, I think, in Science. It was the discovery of some molecules in some of the moons, hinting to the possibility that there might be life, something like that. I'm not very familiar with this research, but it's something really important and basic. And then he became the boss of the science arm of the NASA, and he's really all of it. He's a great scientist, a great mentor, and a great scientific leader. I think that's a great person. So if you have the chance to bring him here, no, you won't. Currently he is in Zurich at the ETH, Zurich. There's a professor, and I would really love to meet him one day. I think he's a great scientist. Yeah, and if you bring that together, I think he must be something like an artist to bring together all these capabilities.
As we are talking about the possibilities of the life, do you think that life is possible on any other planet?
Definitely.
All right.
No doubt.
I mean, in future we are going to see interesting things. You have been to Kyrgyzstan. How is your experience in Kyrgyzstan? And what about your current experience in Kyrgyz State Medical Academy?
I liked it very much. People were so friendly, and I felt so welcome, and I enjoyed it very much. I'm a little bit sorry that I have to leave in 2 days to go back to Germany, and the person who brought me here, Christian, works on it that I come back again. At least I have very talented younger people whom I will ask whether they would like to come here to do some educational research or collaboration. I'm thinking about that.
And while having a look at the medicine and education system of Kyrgyzstan, how much do you think are they far behind from the standards which are being set?
I don't know. I don't know the curriculum. I don't know what you teach them. I saw in your new building the skills lab, all these models where you can practice, and that was really great. So you have the chance to learn a lot and to do very good medical education. But it really depends on the mentors, on the teacher.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for being on the set. It was very interesting to have a talk with you. At the end, there's the camera. You have any message for our audience?
No. no, I didn't think about that. No message.
All right, thank you
Be
so
happy.
much. Thank you so much, sir, for being on the set. It was very nice having you. And thank you so much for your first podcast.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting.
Thank you so much. And at the last, please make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Thank you so much. See you in the next podcast. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.